Even after we have seen a small number of House Republicans extract major concessions in exchange for their votes to make Kevin McCarthy Speaker of the House, we continue to see so-called progressive media figures attack the strategy of hashtag force the vote. We continue to see figures like Sam Seder and the crew of TYT rationalize their protection of the squad's failure 2 years ago by pretending they don't understand political leverage and by smearing their political and business rivals like Jimmy Dore.
Complex. People still claiming that the squad could have gotten Medicare for all if they had just forced the vote, and it's just exhausting. Honestly, you have to be the dumbest person in the world to believe that.
Yeah, or
just really, really invested in it. Yeah. First of all,
you have to be the dumbest person in the world, or just really, really invested in it, or you really just maybe you're really poor and need healthcare. It's really easy to call people who believe in political movements dumb. From your ivory tower in Brooklyn, you have healthcare and a cushy life and a nice salary. Sam Seder. I'm sure you don't have to worry about your teeth falling out and how to pay for it, or any other myriad of issues that people without medical insurance deal with on a daily basis. Fear of going to the doctor, not going to the doctor until it's too late, and finding out that you have cancer all over your body, etc. These stories happen every day in America. Between 40 and 60,000 people die every single year in this country. And guess what? The squad hasn't made a peep about that since Joe Biden became president.
The vote was going to lose. Their strategy was not that you would get Medicare for all. Their strategy was the vote will lose. There'll be such outrage from the American public that we'll be able to target those Democrats who voted against it for 2024
or 2022.
2022. Do you know how many people those people primaried? Like, we already know a bunch of those people who weren't going to vote for it. None of them were primaried in a serious primary. I mean, it is
insincere.
So I just can't even believe that they actually believe it. Honestly, I think there's three explanations.
It's an oxygen wasting operation.
Totally ignorant.
Fighting for healthcare during a deadly pandemic was an oxygen wasting operation, according to, I guess, Sam Seder's conscience, the floating voice in his podcast here.
Two is completely deluded. And three is just like making money. And maybe all of those things come together. I still failed to understand how a performative vote on Medicare for all would have even accomplished anything or revealed fake supporters when the bill would have just died in the Senate anyway. No, it would have died in the House.
Yeah, it would have died in the House.
There was 120 some odd sponsors in the Democratic caucus of Medicare for all. Presumably, let's just say there was even like 50 more Democrats who would support it in a vote they know is going to fail. Republicans would vote it down. It wouldn't pass. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi said she was against Medicare for all.
The whole point was for losing the House, and then the Democrats you need to primary. But even the ones that would have voted for it in that doomed vote, you couldn't have trusted either. It's complete. And the whole thing is like Jimmy Dore's entire.
So first off, Nancy Pelosi, by the way, just like the squad, started off her career saying that she wanted a vote for Medicare for all. AOC as a candidate was saying that she was going to do her best to get a vote for Medicare for all on the House floor, and she didn't care if she was a one-term congressperson to be able to pull that off. Okay? So that's where Nancy Pelosi started. And that's where AOC started. Maybe that's a harbinger of where AOC is headed, into Nancy Pelosi'dom. And then second, they're acting like it's childish for people to bring up votes on things until they are guaranteed to have every single duck and vote in order. That's not how real democracy works. That's how a banana republic works. That's how a rubber-stamped bullshit Congress works. That's rubber-stamping corporate written bills. That's not how real democracies work. And they're so smug. This is why people don't like liberals. It's the Sam Seder ilk that sit in Brooklyn and talk down on people when they're not even making sense themselves. Activists could have used the momentum of the news stories of politicians denying a vote on healthcare or denying Medicare for all itself during a deadly pandemic. But they didn't. They didn't use anything. They didn't use any of their political leverage within the House of Power, within Washington. They didn't use any of their political leverage on the bully pulpit to try and use the media and the public opinion as a cudgel against their own party or against the elites and billionaires who are ransacking this country and ransacking the working people of this country. They didn't do any of that. They fell in line behind Nancy Pelosi, like the most disliked person in American political history. She's more disliked than Donald Trump. It's crazy.
Idea is like that all that squad stuff is pointless. So the idea that he's like, it's pointless, but also you could have done this and actually done something, those are contradictory. Jimmy was only interested in that to reify his position that it's pointless.
And I think for other people, it was just a way to build a new show that they were developing.
Right.
And Sam and his imaginary conscience, who he's talking to on the show, I don't know who the hell it is, are now accusing everyone else of being grifters, chasing after money. So if you have a YouTube show like Sam Seder and you talk about politics, you're chasing after money. You're a grifter by default.
I'm sorry, it's unconscionable. The only reason those progressives are in Congress are to draw the kind of contrast between them and Hakeem Jeffries that will help average Americans realize the Democratic Party isn't there to help you. No one's coming to help you unless you have some radical reform and, frankly, revolutionary level reform. And as long as they are not saying that out loud, they are tacitly covering for people like Hakeem Jeffries. And right now, in this moment, what's going on in Congress, they're explicitly covering for Hakeem Jeffries.
What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils? Huh?